All right, guys, here we go. Part two. Excited to show you some more sample cards today. So this is part two of a series I'm doing. The first one, I showed a very large lot of ordinary rarity sample cards. Today, we're going to talk about exceptional rarity sample cards, and that's what you see displayed before you here. So very similar to last time. I'm going to talk about what I can tell you about the artist backgrounds, anything I know about the illustration development of these cards in particular, any stories about the history of Sorcery that I could share just from my research and knowledge of the project. I've kind of been a active community member since very early on into the project, over a year ago now, and kind of poured through all the data. I'm just into it. I like it a lot, and just uncovered a lot of cool things, and I love to share it across my various platforms, the Collector Art House website, my Facebook group, and this YouTube channel. So thank you all for following along. I'm starting off with this view of another Frank Frazetta playmat. So this was a Death Dealer artwork. I don't know if you can make it out here, but this was signed by Frank Frazetta here. This is not actually a signed copy, of course. It's printed on there, but it shows that this painting was done in 1973. And this is one of, I believe, 5 or so that we've seen so far of licensed Frank Frazetta artworks that we're going to see very likely in the alpha debut for Sorcery. Hopefully in a few months here. We're getting really close. I know they're printing. They're putting the finishing touches on the project, and it's really exciting. This Death Dealer card is going to be especially powerful. It's a unique rarity card, so it's very rare. And the reason why I'm showing this playmat, the Death Dealer, and the one that I showed yesterday, Occult Ritual, and that's not Frank's name. That's what the card is going to be called in the game. It's an alternate art for the Occult Ritual card. The original, or the primary card, I guess I should say, being done by another Sorcery artist, Lindsay Crumet. All right, so the Death Dealer playmat. I bought 6 of these. I have 6 of the Occult Ritual. I'm doing some giveaway promotions, and what I'm asking folks to do is refer people to my Facebook group, Sorcery Contested Realm fan page and marketplace group on Facebook. Also, the Collector Art House Discord, and this YouTube channel. So you'll get 1 point, 1 count credit for each. If you refer one person to all 3, that counts as 3, is what I'm trying to say. If you are only a subscriber to this channel and you're not on the Facebook group yet, you can go sign up there. You could join the Collector Art House Discord. That'll count as 2 more. All right, so refer your friends, trying to grow my media platform and network, trying to grow awareness of Sorcery and the project, and just really excited about this project. Wanted to go the distance and allow Eric Olofsson, the great art director, to continue to create great art, and Nick, Simon, Raphael, all the guys working on the project, allow them to continue to create. Super creative, innovative guys, awesome game, awesome artwork. So I just hope to see many more sets in the future. Hopefully see a lot from the alpha artists and other artists introduced in the future as well, and maybe even more license art from some of the legends like Frank Frazetta. All right, so without further ado, we're going to zoom in here, and I'm going to show you some sample cards. All right, so let me stack these, and let's do the Spellbook first. Gather all these up. Bear with me a moment, and then we'll get into the Atlas cards. So when you play Sorcery Contested Realm, for those of you that are new here, and actually, let's see. I think I gotta mess with my settings. If you bear with me a moment, it looks like the image is inverted. Yeah, that's a little better. All right, so these will be a little more legible. Yeah, so when you play the game, you have an Atlas deck. That's what you see here. Artwork by Francesca Berald. And you have a spell deck. Artwork also by Francesca Berald. So, she's a pretty special artist. I talked about her in the last video. She is an Italian artist, a cartographer, and an artist. So a cartographer means a person that creates maps for different purposes. In her case, she's an artist and does illustrations for games. She's done a lot of work for games. So this beautiful artwork is hers. I can't call it the Realm per se because the game is not marketing it as such. There's not a lore concept for the alpha release. It's more open-ended than that, but I did talk about in the video how there are regions labeled here within the map that makes you wonder if there's some expansibility for future lore concepts, for future expansion sets or what have you. Now, I did ask Francesca about that. I asked her what the art direction was from Eric on this, and if she recalled any special direction or rationale between the names of the regions or how they should be shaped or located, things like that. Unfortunately, she did not remember or didn't have the references anymore, so I couldn't tease out any information there. So I'll have to ask Eric and see if he might share something with me on that. She also did this awesome card back for the Spellbook, and I asked her about this. I was really impressed that this was hand done. All the artwork in Sorcery is hand painted. So just the detail on there is really sensational. She's a cartographer. She does a lot of map art for a lot of games and things, but she has some amazing illustrations and art pieces in the game too on many cards, and some significant ones at that. So the Sorcerer card is one that is prominently featured on the packaging in Alpha, so that's going to be a special significant card you'll see front and center when you pop the box open and see that on display shelves in stores. All right, so let's get into it. I'm just going to go through these in no particular order, one at a time, and we'll kind of try to share some information about the artist and any insights I might have on particular artworks if I ask the artist about these. So Andrea Modesti, all right, a guy we've talked about at length here. Andrea's a great artist living in Italy, another Italian artist. This hunting party is really cool. He did the foot soldier token paintings. So, the uniforms kind of like on all these different illustrations that he did are very similar and very intricate. He uses watercolors as his primary medium. And what I really like about this one is if you really like analyze it and break it down into all its components, it's really cool and creative how he did this sunshine beaming through the trees and the kind of the rays beaming off of that kind of gives it like a almost like fantasy surreal type element to it. And then, he has these dogs running in the background. He also has I think he did the Scented Hounds artwork that's been very popular amongst people, probably dog lovers, pet lovers. He has a pikeman card, so this looks consistent, like maybe this is the same pikeman. He told me that the pikeman and the longbowman were his two favorite artworks. I was very interested in both of those, and seriously considering acquiring those paintings from him, but it was not meant to be. He wants to hold on to those for the foreseeable future. He said maybe he'll change his mind in the future, but I'll just hold out hope on that one. All right, so that's Hunting Party. Really cool card. All right, there you go. Another exceptional artwork by Mr. Andrea Modesti. Another funny story about Andrea. So he's I mentioned this in the last video. He's kind of like an old school guy. Doesn't really use social media. So when I set up my Collector Art House website, it was primarily set up to interview the artists. I wanted to respect their time and do written Q&A style interviews because, these artists are very busy creating. I didn't want to be much of a distraction, and some are more comfortable than others being on camera. So I was like, hey, low pressure, let's make it easy. I'll send out a series of questions. I reached out to many artists. I think I've done, 12, 13 interviews. I got another one coming with another special artist that I work with. So I'm excited about that one. So anyway, I reached out to him. It took me forever to find Andrea. I was looking on Facebook, Instagram, all the traditional social media, Twitter that you typically find these artists on, and he was not to be found anywhere. So myself and actually Gadu Duaso, another artist for Sorcery, he was helping me track him down too. It was kind of funny. I was like, we got to find this guy because there's a couple Andrea Modestis out there. If you go on Instagram, there's actually an Andrea Modesti, a much younger guy. I think Andrea is probably, I don't know, I'm a horrible judge of age, but I'd guess 40s, maybe 50s, maybe 40s. He looks like a young guy, and I consider 40s young. I'm in there myself, or in that realm. I won't give you my exact age, but anyway, I found a young Andrea Modesti on Instagram, and he looked like he was an artist. He has these very mysterious videos where he is painting and things, and sometimes there's music, dramatic music, and I was like, hey Gadu, I found him. And like I asked Eric, I was like, is this Andrea Modesti? And I don't know that Eric knows what Andrea looks like, or maybe did not at the time. I think he just found his artwork kind of on the internet, or I'll have to ask Eric how he actually found him, but I think, if I remember correctly, I think he was unsure if that was actually him. So I was like, Gadu, I got him. Finally found him on Instagram, and he was like, oh, cool, yeah. He was unsure. He's like, yeah, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But long story short, it was not him. So eventually I did find him because he has a blog website and he has some of these paintings and artworks on there. He mentioned he was working for the game and he had a lot of it on there. So I reached out to him over email and, I interviewed him, and there's a great interview on the Collector Art House website. So you should check that out. Really nice guy. He was really flattered to be interviewed and get the dust off this top loader. Really, really flattered to be interviewed, and I'm flattered just to have the opportunity. The privilege is truly all mine. But super nice guy. Featured our interview on his blog page and a video I did for Spirit Destiny. Really iconic looking artwork and unique card in the game. All right, so this one is Elvira. I think she pronounces it Elvira, I assume, Elwira, but I think the W is a V, the way I've heard it a few times. Pollock. All right, so this one is all-terrain vestments, another exceptional, and this one's a relic. So that's pretty cool. There's very, I want to say very few. I mean, certainly not as many as spells or creatures. So the relics, I think, are special cards in this game. So it's really cool to have one of those in a sample card. And that's a cool, interesting artwork. I haven't asked Elvira about this one. I did ask her about some of her others. She has a lot of great artwork for the game. I think she's done, 15, 20 pieces, several. And look at this one here. Very interesting, as I'm noticing something. This is what we might call an error or a misprint card. I'm kind of winging it, guys. I'm just looking at these cards for the first time. Someone just sent it to me. And take a look there. It says Tony Solio. Tony did not do this artwork. This is Alan Pollock. I know that for a fact. I've talked to Alan. I interviewed Alan. And I've talked to Tony a ton too. So there was some mix-ups like this in early development. It's just a simple print file mix-up. No harm intended, of course. Eric has great respect for the artist. There was just so much work to get done, so many moving parts that in some of the print files, these got mixed up and they were later corrected. So this is an Alan Pollock artwork, Cerberus and Chains, acquired by our German friend in the Discord and Facebook group. He's shown this off, and it's kind of interesting. I think it has more of a pinkish hue, I want to say. This one looks like a very deep red and black, which makes it a little more striking on the card. But the original painting for this is a real beautiful painting, and you could find that on a guy named Koyubi, Koyubi. I hope I got that right. Find his Instagram or go on the Sorcery Facebook page and you'll find that original painting. Real sensational job by Mr. Alan Pollock. That's a cool one. And I want to say that might have been upgraded to a higher rarity. I'm not sure. But anyway, moving on. Vincent Pompetti, another Italian artist, currently living in France. Great guy. Interviewed him as well. You can see the pattern here. I've interviewed a ton of artists, so it's really cool seeing their artwork and seeing it in card form. So Vincent's a great guy. This enlist, I think I talked about this one on the last video, actually, so it must have got mixed in there. I think they changed the name to Call to Arms. So, another cool, unique thing about sample cards is that there's been a lot of changes, so these are real keepsakes of the pre-alpha era here in card form, printed by Sorcery's official printer. So I think that's really cool and special. You got different names sometimes, you got different casting costs at times, different power levels where power level is relevant. In this case is the spell, so it's not. And look at this. Search your spell book for a non-unique. Should say unique, right? So we got spelling typos. These are pretty raw early development cards. They've since been corrected. So it should say non-unique mortal card and add it to your hand, shuffle your spell book. So, call it what you will. Is it an error card? There's errors. This is raw early development, guys. There's been a lot of changes. So that's what makes these cards collectible. People like rare, cool oddities. So they're not just oddities. They're just the earliest version of Sorcery cards. So they were in some of the top pledge tiers, and they're just a coveted item. All right, so moving on. Another from Elvira Relic, Land Deed. Really cool card. I think this was featured on Sorcery's official website. If you go there, I know they're planning some refinement and development of that page. That hasn't been a focus of the project. They're just trying to get the product out there. But this has been prominently featured. We've seen it in the past, kind of like a promotional type thing where they talk about the game. It's kind of, a scroll and a land deed kind of lends itself to a storyline, however you want to market something, right? So that's been used in some of the marketing materials. This again is another relic, so that's pretty cool. You know, relics are special cards. The Mariner's Curse. Why am I being dramatic? This is a favorite card of Mr. Mike from Mean Mugging and Games. Go check out his YouTube channel. Mike's a great guy. He's into several games. I know he plays all kinds of games, and he's big on Sorcery. He's done a lot of good quality content on Sorcery. More gameplay centric, you know, so something you're not likely to see quite as much on my media platforms because I'm more of a collector and art enthusiast type. But yeah, go check out Mike's channel. He's a good guy, and this is one of his favorite cards. I think Mike likes fishing and things like this, so he's into you know, these undersea vibes. This is really awesome by Elvira too. You know, just looking at it, sometimes that when I see the cards in card form, I just notice things a little more. That's something you guys are likely to notice if you just kind of been skimming images on the website or print files. You might not have noticed these subtleties, but it's kind of cool. Like these fish, I never really paid much mind to. Obviously, what strikes you is the prominently featured woman here on the front side of the boat. I'm going to show my ignorance on boating, what you call the front of a boat or a ship or whatever may have you. But this is pretty like ominous looking underground image. Kind of reminds me of Dan Seagrave artwork in that way a little bit, and just very well done. You know, I love Elvira's super popular. People love her artwork. All right, here you go, Alan Pollock. This actually is an Alan Pollock artwork, so this is correctly attributed. This is the Hillock Basilisk. You know, Alan is he did work for TSR way back in the day. I talked in the last video how he kind of grew up in the early days painting with Tony Sudlow and Jeff Easley, two juggernaut, gigantic icons in the fantasy art realm. And so he's done like magic, right? So those the magic artists get artist proofs, and they will in Sorcery as well. So he does a lot of artist proof commissions, and you should go check those out. Check out Alan's Instagram and his Facebook page. He's often taking commissions and selling and showing off his artist proof paintings. He paints on the back. You know, he did an Instagram. I was peppering him with questions one day on an Instagram live event, and he was telling me all about his process and how he uses gesso to finish, you know, the back painting. I was asking, you know, how do you control that? How do you not soak it through the card? I don't know. I'm not an artist myself. I just love art. So it was just fascinating to me. It was just me and a few other guys on the live stream early on. So he's very gracious to answer a lot of my questions. But it just reminded me of that because the detail in his artwork is just super impressive. I mean, these look almost digital, but they're not. He does these. These are all hand painted. Every card in the game with Sorcery. All right, Tony Sudlow. This one is a Tony Sudlow card, and Sea Raider. An exceptional mortal roams the sea. Yeah. You know what? Tony is I'm just trying to like study this card a little bit because, you know, I mentioned I've talked a lot to Tony. And one thing he told me is that he always hides things in his card. So I would, I don't know if I have the full art image. I have this amazing page on my website. And that's not to brag of my own website. It's truly because of the artwork and the artists. And it's a page that has all of the full art paintings, as many as I could find or that the artist would share with me. And what you often find is that there's a hidden element under this text box. So this one, you see this. It makes you wonder if this body was severed by the Sea Raider, or if the legs continue. What's going on under there? You want to know, right? But what got me thinking here is when I've talked with Tony several times, he's told me that he loves to hide hidden elements like Easter egg type things in his artwork. And the reason he does that is he really wants the viewer to study his artwork carefully. And that's a great technique. It makes you really appreciate the artwork of the artist. Makes me wonder if this is like a symbol that has meaning on what looks like a shield or something there. He uses a lot of symbology. You're going to find that in some of his artwork. Go to the Behind the Art feature. There's a page called Behind the Art on my website, www.collectorarthouse.com, and there's a few pieces there where I talked to Tony, talked to several artists there, and got the background info of how these artists came up with the illustrations and what art direction they got from Eric Olofsson, the game creator and art director, essentially. And there's some fascinating stories, and Tony has some great ones about some of his art concepts. Some he wants you to find yourself, and others he shared some facts with me that are super interesting. All right, we're getting into the Atlas cards now, and this first one is by Miss Margaret Organ Keane, one of the early Magic the Gathering artists. She did the Lion's Eye Diamond, is probably, I would say, her most famous artwork in Magic. So a lot of you guys might know that one. This observatory card, let me put, I don't want to spoil the others. I want to put that down and just focus on this card. I was blown away. I've had one of these come through in my possession before, and I was really blown away. The camera's really not doing it justice. The unfortunate thing is lighting is very tricky, when you're filming. And I want to say that for all the cards, that you're not getting the full appreciation for the color tones of these cards. This card looks absolutely incredible. I was really blown away when I saw this for the first time, and continue to be. I think it's easily my favorite artwork from Margaret. And another interesting fact, I met Margaret at the IX art show, 4 to 6 weeks ago now? Time flies. And I talked to her for quite a while, and we got to talking about, of course, Sorcery. That's what I care about. And she told me that there's 2 paintings that she had done, which she thought might be for Alpha, but they have not been revealed yet. So I know there's roughly 35 cards that have not been revealed for the Alpha set, and we can expect some surprises. I think some of those surprises may be cards that have been revealed before, that were pulled from the tabletop simulator for redesign or whatever the case may be. So I think some of those will be reintroduced, but I would hazard to guess that Eric and team are going to surprise us perhaps with some artwork that we have never seen before, and that will be pretty exciting and thrilling. But this observatory, I just love this artwork. She told me it's from a scenic area, inspired by an area in Seattle where she lives. A lot of those Magic artists live in Seattle because they worked for TSR and or WotC, for Magic. All right, so let's go to the next one. Marta Molina. So Marta is one of the 3 Magic the Gathering card altar specialists. So it's Marta, Kyle Calazans, and Elvira Shakarova that really earned their name and reputation in the MTG altar scene. And that's how Eric discovered them. And Marta lives in Spain. And, I've talked to her quite a bit as well. I'm going to be working with her on some special projects coming very soon. And this mountain pass, she does a lot of beautiful landscape art. And you could really see this is a pretty special card. She has some other, she does great work with ships, I think I would call her specialty. If you go look for Marta Molina. I think it's Marta Molina Art on Instagram, but just search for Marta Molina. She'll come up, and you can't mistake her page. You'll find all kinds of artwork there and altars she's done. And they're super impressive. You'll be blown away by the altars she does. Beautifully scenic things. A lot of ships, I was saying, and water type things. She did Pristine Paradise is one of her most popular for Sorcery. You go check that out on the Collector Art House website. All right, and then last but not least, Doug Kovacs. So Doug, I believe, also has done some Magic work. So he's another very well-known artist. The Secret Tunnel artwork is super cool. Of course, this is an exceptional rarity like the others. The Atlas cards, I think, are especially rare. I talked about that on some articles on my website and in prior videos. But this is a beautiful artwork, kind of interesting. These mysterious guys coming through the secret tunnel. And it says, an exceptional sight to help in times of trouble. So the game effect is your minions that unburrow may do so here. All right, so we'd have to go on the website. Again, these are early development cards. I'm not sure if this has changed. A lot of cards have changed their game mechanic for clarity, or just completely revamped for design balance and things like that. So, quite a few exceptionals here. This is a nice collection, a nice lot of cards. These cards are just very special, very rare, very unique. So I'm proud to share these with you. In the next couple of series, we got 5 elite cards that I'm going to show, and then we will cap off with a unique card. Uniques are extremely, extremely rare in sample card form, and they're going to be very rare and hard to get in the actual release too. So those are going to be super special and fun. You could only have 1 in your deck, so they tend to be quite powerful as well. But that's it for today, guys. I really appreciate it. Remember the giveaway contest. If you want to win one of these playmats, all you have to do, it's free. Just refer people to the platforms: Facebook, Discord, and YouTube. Let's grow this game. Let's grow, what's in it for me? I'm trying to grow my audience. What's in it for you is more people in our community. I'm just trying to grow and get the word out on Sorcery. More people to play with, more people to collect with, more people to trade with. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're getting close to alpha release. The momentum is really building. You kind of feel it. So thank you guys. Please like and subscribe and share the video as well. I really appreciate all your support. Check out all my links in the description, and we'll see you soon with an Elites video. All right, take care, everybody.